Welcome to the podcast recording of Middle East AI News Live for Thursday, October 2nd, 2025, brought to you by Carrington Malin, Marketing for an AI-First World. You're listening to my discussion with Dev Singh, Vice President of Industrial IoT Solutions at Qualcomm, and its Global Head for Oil and Gas, Smart City, Construction and Mining Verticals.
Today we're going to talk about Qualcomm and its Global Engineering Center in Abu Dhabi, Qualcomm's infrastructure and AI offerings and partnerships in the region, and also industrial automation and IoT and AI deployed at the edge. I'm going to be joined by Dev Singh, Vice President, Industrial IoT Solutions, Global Head, Oil and Gas, Smart Cities, Construction and Mining at Qualcomm. He just moved to the UAE to lead the development of Qualcomm's Global Engineering Center in Abu Dhabi. So wears many hats there. Dev is a seasoned semiconductor industry leader with more than 20 years of cross-functional experience in engineering, product development, and business leadership. At Qualcomm, he heads the global robotics and intelligent machines business segment within the company's industrial IoT unit. He's responsible for business growth, product strategy, R&D, driving innovation in industrial automation, robotics, UAVs, computer vision, AIoT, and smart cities. He's got an extensive career and holds a master's degree in electrical engineering from the University of Arkansas. And today he's helped shaping the future with AI-powered automation and with his move to the UAE to accelerate innovation in the Middle East and to build out that new engineering center. Dev, welcome to Thursday Deep Dive.
Hi, Carrington. Good afternoon. Very nice to be here. It's a pleasure.
Great to have you here. Thanks very much for making the time to talk to us. Lots of things going on. I'll tell you what would be a good starting point for me is just take a step back and look at Qualcomm. Tend to recognize for what you know, and with from different perspectives, you recognize different things and know Qualcomm for different things. Do you want to give us just a couple of minutes on what Qualcomm is today and the sort of businesses that you're in?
Yes. So let's begin with, at Qualcomm, we are celebrating our 40th anniversary this year. And we've been around for decades, 4 decades now, and at forefront of technology innovation, right? So Qualcomm was founded by visionary leaders, visionary engineers who inventing CDMA technology in 1989 to now we are evolving a lot of communication technology from 3G to now 6G. In this process, we've changed the way the world connects. We've connected billions of endpoints. We have transformed how communication is done. In the process, huge economic growth has been provided and has transformed how communities interact. And now today, as AI becomes epicenter of human life and is touching every facet of our life, we are pushing the boundaries further. We're taking our communication legacy and low power computing legacy with the AI NPUs. We are now impacting industries like automotive, oil and gas, energy utility verticals, manufacturing, smart cities, like everything that Carrington talked about. So our commitment to innovation, to our people, to our partners remains unwavered. And we are looking for many more decades of this technology innovation, technology leadership, and the impact that Qualcomm has had. So we are very, very fortunate to be in this time where all the technology that Qualcomm has built over years is transforming not only one industry, but touches across all the industries.
Great, thank you very much. And of course, in the news, the last couple of years, almost continuously has been the Snapdragon chipset, which is quite exciting. So we want to talk a bit more about that later. But you have a very exciting role. You've already got quite a lot on your plate, but you've taken the plunge, moved to the UAE, and you've got new responsibilities here. Do you want to give us a sort of overview of what you cover and your sort of global and local responsibilities and what that means?
Yes, absolutely. I'll try to summarize as best as I can. So yes, I have recently moved with my family, relocated to Abu Dhabi from California. And it's a testament for Qualcomm's commitment to the region to begin with. And going back, I've been 14 years with Qualcomm. In Qualcomm, I've worn different hats, like you already elaborated, from engineering, operations, and lately incubating all the growth edge AI businesses like robotics, drones, and AI stuff. And now my role here is to set up an engineering center, which is going to be a solution innovation hub in the region. And in addition to that, I also lead the global business for oil and gas, mining, utilities, and smart cities as well. So my experience and my background positions me very, very interestingly well for deployments that Middle East is a consumption market where there are solutions that are required. And I am very well positioned to use the Qualcomm technologies, Qualcomm ecosystems to address the local challenges. So I'm looking forward to see how all this digital transformation across key industries will happen in next few years in the Middle East.
Great. And how was the move? You find that easy, or is it always going to be a tough one coming that far and setting up?
I would be trivializing if I said it was easy. Of course, moving continents is not an easy task. And I came in the middle of summer, so that didn't help. But things are only getting better. Things only will get better, I guess. And we are settling in. So very, very fortunate to have this experience.
And of course, Qualcomm's a global business, so it's not like you're cut off. You're actually moving time zones, but maybe that's good for some people, not so good for other people, I guess.
Yes, true. And I'm still handling the global operations for these businesses that we talked about.
So let's talk a little bit about the Middle East then. There's been a lot of activity from Qualcomm over the last couple of years, a lot of announcements this year. I mentioned some of them in my introduction. This is a growth area for Qualcomm?
It is very much a growth area because like we have transformed a lot of industries over decades. We've transformed how mobile technology has evolved. We've transformed over the last decade and a half how automotive software-defined vehicles with Qualcomm technology. And now, as traditional industries like manufacturing, oil and gas are very hungry to take the leap into the next level of innovation, to go into the digital transformation where connectivity becomes ubiquitous, like 5G, private networks, to AI, that is a insatiable demand for those kind of technologies. It positions Qualcomm really well, and this is definitely a growth area. All the investments that we have done to fit into this form factor, powerful processor, now things like drones, things like robotics, all battery operated sensors need the same type of technology communication. So we are very, very well positioned to serve this market, and it's definitely a very big growth area for us.
So Qualcomm's got some existing partnerships in the region, and you're based in Abu Dhabi, and G42 Group and Core 42 partners of Qualcomm.
So yes, in a nutshell, Qualcomm expansion in the Middle East is anchored around strategic partnerships. So we are looking into great partnerships across different geographies here. In Saudi Arabia, we are partnered deeply with Aramco Digital around industrial segments, and also with Humane into the data center and also in smart city space. And coming to UAE, we are very deeply partnered with companies like Etisalat across verticals, enterprise, government, and few other things as well. And then our partnerships with MGX constellation of companies like Core 42, Presight, Analog. These are the key partnerships that we are focused on in the region, of course, with ADNOC as well. And you talked about it a little bit earlier about our partnership with ADIO, Abu Dhabi Investment Office, that actually has positioned us or brought us to Abu Dhabi. So this is a great partnership in making, and we are very excited to see how Qualcomm coming to the region, bringing the technology closer to the consumption of these key players, and how that's going to change the game now.
Great. And I think you have partnerships with ADIO, Abu Dhabi Investment Office, and you're also part of Next Gen FDI program as well.
Yes, we are. Absolutely. So that is how all of this started. Those partnerships are the ones that facilitate the move. We were coming in, flying in with our engineers before, but then after talking to ADIO and others, it's like, okay, Qualcomm's presence here is going to be valuable. That partnership with ADIO has led to the establishment of Qualcomm Engineering Center here in Abu Dhabi, and the impact of this is both regional and global, a win-win situation for the local companies, win-win situation for Abu Dhabi, for GDP growth, win-win situation for Qualcomm as well, where we, as an ecosystem, look at growing this technology innovation hub here.
Perhaps you could just talk about some of those partnerships for a few minutes. There's one of the ones announced earlier this year was Humane, Saudi Arabia's national AI company, where Qualcomm is working with them on AI infrastructure, AI at the edge, and of course the new device that was announced last week.
Absolutely. So with Humane, I mean, Humane is again a newer establishment. We've been working with them for over the last few months, to be honest here. And the partnership with Humane is across the gamut of things that they are involved in. Of course, the data center, but edge AI and driving the requirements for data center from agentic AI on PCs, agentic AI on cameras and smart devices like glasses to the data center. So whole value chain of the pipeline of AI from data center to the edge device is where we are involved with them. The true testament of getting AI in at the edge is the launch of the Humane PC that happened at our Snapdragon Summit just 2 weeks ago. And that PC, when you get to play with it, it is phenomenal. They have this OS that has an agentic agent for every function of a corporate that would need in terms of HR, in terms of legal. So it's hard to explain, but when you play with it, you will realize how AI on device is changing the game. And that's one of the first step with Humane that we've taken is the PC. We have a lot more things baking and you'll hear more of it.
Yeah, the AI PC has already garnered quite a lot of attention, and I'm sure it's going to take more attention as it continues to roll out and it become available. But that's sort of illustrative of the way AI is going and deployment at the edge, and that's an area of specialization for Qualcomm, isn't it?
Absolutely. So Qualcomm thrives on edge. So we come from the DNA of making chips for mobile technology, right? Mobile is a true edge device that is in your hand. And now when you talk about a smart AI at the edge, be it on cameras, be it on drones and robots, it is very, very important, especially in these autonomous systems. I mean, in automotive segment, people get it. For example, why is AI needed on the edge? While people talk about AI as central cloud phenomenon in past, but AI truly we believe is going to be very much hybrid. And this would probably resonate with everybody because when you talk about AI in a car, when you have an autonomous driving car, when you have to make a decision of a pedestrian in front of the car and you want to stop the vehicle, it has to be done very much locally. You cannot wait or depend on the connectivity for it to go to the cloud, process the data, and try to infer what it needs to do as a next step. It is very, very paramount for autonomy, for AI to be on the edge. I took that example of automotive because it brings the point home, but that applies to drones, to robots, for example. And more importantly, even in situations like oil and gas, where of course cloud is always an option, but most of these facilities, if all of you know or not, they are something they call air gap. There's something called a data diode where you have means to visualize what's going on in the plant, but there's no means going back down into controlling the machinery. So what that means is, yes, you can always derive insights, but what good is the data if you're not able to take action on the data? And to be able to do and take action on that data, you need to have edge processing and edge AI to make sense of what is happening. Okay, if there is a gas leak or a valve that's not working, send instructions to go fix it or autonomously drive it. So that is why edge AI is important in the realms of industrial automation, in the realms of autonomy. So that's where we shine in. We have processors that are 5 watts to 500 watts. There are very few companies in this planet that can operate in this gamut of device prototypes, right? We are present in smallest sensor with our communication in a gas leak detection center to the data center and everything in between. So bringing AI to everybody and everywhere is what our motto and our goal is.
And there's a huge amount of investment going into IoT, and I guess demand for AI at the edges must be growing very fast as well. Certainly we look at Saudi Aramco, ADNOC, huge investment into the leveraging AI and developing AI solutions, but also leveraging IoT and monitoring and trying to manage everything that's going on using AI and remote access.
Absolutely, absolutely. I make a joke out of this when I say within Qualcomm, at least, if it's not a phone and if it's not a car, it is IoT, everything, Internet of everything. But actually, phone and cars also are an Internet of a thing kind of thing. So industrial IoT is one of the focus areas because we're well positioned to bring the right chipsets that are needed for this market. We are bringing chipsets from our mobile lineage and from our automotive lineage. So you can think about the harsh, rugged environments in an oil and gas facility, onshore or offshore. You need processors that can operate in this extreme 95 degrees C plus junction temperature. And that has to be done 24/7 operation, 10 years life requirement. So that is a different kind of robustness that you need in your processing capability. And then you talk about consumer, where cost is important, where form factors are very important. We have a slew of portfolio that does that. So we have two brands in Qualcomm. One is the Snapdragon brand, that is a consumer-facing brand, and we have the Dragon Wing brand, which is largely the industrial IoT brand, and everything that powers smart meters to industrial gateways to edge processors and robots, all powered by our IQ9 or the Dragon Wing series of our part. So that's a massive opportunity for Qualcomm, and we are continuing to invest heavily in the industrial IoT part of it.
And this is a fast-growing region for that IoT business.
It is a fast-growing region for two reasons, right? One is the large establishments are here. The demand is here. In past, Qualcomm has worked with folks who take Qualcomm chip and technology and make devices. So, for example, I would work with a handset maker or a drone manufacturer that is either in China or Taiwan and others. That is our traditional business, and we still continue to do that. And we have built a vast ecosystem of device prototypes, and we have partnerships with Foxconn to WNC to Wistron Group to Advantech, all the ODMs and OEMs. That is still one of our primary business. But in IoT, especially where consumption happens, is by the enterprises that are running manufacturing or doing an operation like an oil and gas. They have need for these devices. So it's basically now working with regional entities like Aramco who are going to consume the devices. We as Qualcomm are in the middle, because what we can do is understand the problem statements, look at what is going on and what needs to be done in terms of technology, and move our ecosystem that we already have to the advantage here by orchestrating a solution to the problem. So basically in IoT, I can give you an example. Let's say my problem is worker safety. So worker safety can be solved in multiple ways. At Qualcomm, we have become a true technology advisor to a company like Aramco, where we say, okay, worker safety in this plant, understanding the environment, because we have feet on the ground, we have people embedded in Aramco now, and with ADNOC and others as well. We go in there, say, look, you could use cameras, you could use drones, you could use sensors, you can use body-worn devices, and we put a solution together, and nobody else is in a better situation than Qualcomm to do that, because we have already powered these devices with a lot of these OEMs. So as opposed for a person in Aramco trying to cobble these things together, go to the market and things pull off the shelf, we are able to orchestrate the solution based on our ecosystem. So it does two good things for the region. One is bringing Qualcomm here becomes a trusted technology advisor for these companies that are trying digital transformation with 5G and AI, which we have all the technology for, and we have the big ecosystem to come along with it.
So that's the backdrop really for genesis of the Global Engineering Center, I think. How did that come about? Was it a number of things, or was it purely from customer demand?
Yes, and it is based on two or three things, right? One is we cannot solve customer problems sitting remotely. We have to put ourselves in the shoes of customer, be on site, be it offshore, be it in the oil rig. So we have to be able to relate to the problem statement. We have a lot of technology, and connecting those dots to an end problem statement is very important, and being present in the region, that is why it makes a lot of sense. And more importantly, we have been working with ADIO, of course. ADIO and other entities have given enough good reasons about why Qualcomm should be here. Not only because we want to have a technological impact here, but we also want to see how Qualcomm presence here can help with local GDP. Because when Qualcomm comes here, it's not only Qualcomm coming. We are going to bring a whole ecosystem with us. For example, we have a partner called Sigma Connectivity from Sweden. They've already moved to the region, anticipating that Qualcomm is going to address a lot of these problems, and they will need to help support some of these. We have scaling partners because Qualcomm does not do everything. We build the technology, but we have ODMs and OEMs who are also going to relocalize along with Qualcomm. So that is the genesis of coming here, understanding the problem statements, huge opportunity for Qualcomm, huge opportunity for the local players to take Qualcomm technology, and being here is the way to do it. And then there is a fundamental advantage is not only one way. What this becomes is once we are providing these solutions to the local entities here, these become tested, deployed projects that become blueprint, and now we will be able to export this to, say, Europe, India, and others, because what problem statements Aramco has, I'm sure very similar problem statements Shell or BPR is going to have. And once we are doing this here, this engineering center becomes an innovation hub in the Middle East, not only serving Middle East, but having a global impact. So you can see where this is going to go, right? Where this becomes the epicenter of the second R&D center for multiple companies that are going to be here.
Right. And I believe you have plans to hire for the Global Engineering Center. And I'm just curious, how does a use case get into that Global Engineering Center? Is it through customer inquiries that these are surfaced, and then that's something that you would need to allocate a team to work on? Or is this to support business development? I mean, how does that work?
So, again, very, very, very good question. I mean, we've already had a lot of use cases that we are looking into. And this is because it goes back to why Qualcomm is here. We are here because of our strategic partnership with these large players like Aramco, ADNOC, Etisalat, Humane, right? If you look at these partners in Aramco Digital, they already know Qualcomm's role as a trusted technology advisor. So we are actually embedded with these teams right now, sitting alongside engineers in Aramco upstream and downstream, and in the labs at ADNOC, in the innovation center with Etisalat. And we are looking at the problem statements together. We are looking at the use cases and connecting the dots, saying this is the technology that Qualcomm has, can solve this kind of problem. So the funnel is already coming through the strategic partnership. And of course, the beneficiary of this is going to be the broader ecosystem as well, because once we do something for Abu Dhabi police with drones, that same solution can apply to Dubai, to Riyadh, for example. And in the same way, we are going to do drones for monitoring some level of inspection in cell phone towers that can scale to road inspection, that can scale to a lot of other things. So we are looking at all these complex problems because Qualcomm in the core DNA is an engineering solutions company. So we like the complex problems that are not solvable by everybody, but Qualcomm can with the ecosystem that we have. And that's what we are here to do.
I realize it's early days, but the announcement was made in May, I think, on Global Engineering Center. You've just landed. What's the timescale for rolling the Global Engineering Center out? And also, what opportunity do you see for partnerships in the local ecosystem?
Again, it is going to be an ongoing effort. I just arrived here 3 months. We've already made our few initial hires, offers are out. Largely, what is going to happen is large part of this team here is going to be existing Qualcomm folks from different regions of Qualcomm, say Europe and India, we think will move here. Because when we are talking about solving industry problems, we need to know what assets Qualcomm has. So basically, putting together the Qualcomm assets, knowing what Qualcomm has in addressing the pain points, For that, you need deep technical knowledge. And that is why large part of the team is going to be existing Qualcomm employees, top talent from Qualcomm, experts from Qualcomm, subject matter experts who are going to move from Europe, India, and other regions here. And to augment them, we also will be doing some local hiring where we will get industry experts from oil and gas, from data centers, from cloud, to basically leverage each other's capabilities, each other's experience, and address the problems of the region. So that is what we are planning to do. And in this process, of course, we will expand our relationship from the strategic relationship that we talked about. We are already talking to, for example, TII. We are talking Technology Institute, and then we are also talking to Edge Group, for example. We are going to keep expanding these partnerships, and as things happen, as we have more and more scalable solutions, as I mentioned earlier, also our ecosystem is going to come here. Our partners are going to come here. So we anticipate to enable not only local solutions, but enable local manufacturing, local assembly of devices. So we are looking forward to seeing how to make the maximum impact here.
And what have these types of centers done, and what's the impact been in other parts of the world?
A lot of multinational companies have this technology innovation center in different part of the region. Of course, the common ones, US is the epicenter for Qualcomm, headquartered in San Diego. We have large presence in India. We have a chip design center in Bangalore. We have a software entity which works on all our softwares across the board in Hyderabad. We have a big presence in China as well. In Taiwan, we have partners, enablement team. But these were our mostly traditional businesses where we said we are building chips, we are building software on top of chips. But now what we are talking about is solutions. Being able to not only use Qualcomm technology, but the end products made by our ecosystem and put them together to solve industry problems. So this is a little bit of a newer muscle for Qualcomm as well. And we are very well positioned to do that. We've been already at it for some time. We have really good solutions that the industry already like. And we think with things like 5G, private networks, Gen AI, agentic AI, we have these assets that solve a lot of these problems, from worker safety, productivity increase, or to efficiency, having an impact on climate, for example, right? So this innovation center is all about having scalable solutions. So it's a solutions innovation hub, which will have deployments in the Middle East, have the blueprints of that will scale to global, say Europe, Asia, APAC, whatnot.
So this is actually quite unique in Qualcomm's global ecosystem in that it focuses on AI and IoT, AI at the edge.
You're right. A lot of these industries' consumption for IoT, sensors to drones to robots. So IoT is going to be the epicenter of this, not only IoT, but then think about data center being the other one with Core 42, Humane we talked about, that's other focus. So this engineering center is going to focus on industrial IoT solutions and cloud data center, PC, XR, and expansion of that. So whatever is needed in the region will be addressed through this innovation center.
Great, great. Any timescales you can give us for what's likely to happen this year, next year, moving forward?
Yeah, so we just established our presence here. I'm hiring my first set of, we'll be doing this hiring in batches. First set of 10 to 15 people will be joining by before end of this year. Over next 18 months or so, we plan to scale it to a good operation of 30 to 50 engineers locally. And we'll see how, as business grows, as opportunities come in, as the demand is there, we will continue to reevaluate our strategy and plan our growth accordingly.
Right. And if there are organizations out there that are either institutions, large enterprises that want to partner with Qualcomm, then how would they do that?
I am super excited about the technology innovation happening in this region. The possibilities that are going to happen over the next few years are going to be foundational in terms of new technology adoption and others. So I am looking forward for broader partnerships across the ecosystem. And of course, Qualcomm is here now. We are going to bring in all our technology experts, our knowledge, and our ecosystem here. So I would encourage people to reach out. We will be talking to a lot of these players. We will be at shows like GITEX. We will be present at ADIPEC and all the other things and regional events. We are going to also conduct developer days. We are going to conduct partner days, including venture days for startup community here. So we are looking forward to make all the connections that are going to be very meaningful, both for the region and for the local companies here, where we can bring our technology prowess to their doorstep.
Wow, sounds exciting. If you'd like to give us any comments or insights on Snapdragon chipset, how it's going, and what this will mean for the end users. You mentioned the Humane PC before. This is likely to be the first of many.
Yes, absolutely. So our brand Snapdragon, we recently last week at our tech day in Hawaii launched the Snapdragon X, which is the next generation X2. It is very rare that you see this leap and bound jump in processing power, this jump in the AI power within a previous generation and the new generation. So at Qualcomm, this is in the 3 nanometer advanced technology node, super efficient, super powerful in terms of computing, in terms of onboard AI, and also power efficiency. Every flagship of ours redefines what is possible, pushing the limit and boundaries of processing. We are super excited, and you will just see slews of announcements that is going to happen at MWC coming up, the number of phones that are going to launch, and then we'll have Computex where we'll talk about the new PCs coming in. And on the IoT side, we have the Dragon Wing series where we just recently announced our IQ9 and IQ8 processors that is also seeing significant traction, lot of designs in every vertical, be it drones, robotics, industrial PCs. So Snapdragon and Dragon Wing together now being a consumer and an industrial brand are becoming an ubiquitous solution, and everybody is going to reap the benefit of the innovation that Qualcomm is putting in.
So there have been new Dragon Wing announcements and new Snapdragon announcements recently, haven't there? Because last week there was an announcement on...
Last week was largely Snapdragon, and the Dragon Wing happened a little bit earlier at Embedded World.
Great, very interesting. So Qualcomm team in the region is expanding. The Global Engineering Center team is expanding. Seems like this is a fast-growing region for Qualcomm at the moment.
Yeah, it's absolutely is. Like I touched upon these things. The need for technology to drive productivity in oil fields, to drive innovation in the smart city space. Technology adoption is embraced very, very proactively here. So I think that's why it makes a lot of sense for Qualcomm to be here in the region, to understand the problem statements of the customers firsthand, and bring our ecosystem to the advantage for this region. So I think it's very, very well partnership in happening.
Yeah. And do you find that these partnerships move fast here? Because I know of some of the partnerships and they seem to have moved quite fast as it goes.
They are very fast, lightning fast, I would say. I mean, even before Qualcomm came here, we've seen that Qualcomm was called upon. For example, we were talking about private 5G networks for a long time. We were talking about private 5G networks in automotive segment, manufacturing, and others. Automotive manufacturers would adopt it. But what has happened is ADNOC came up with world's largest private 5G network on millimeter wave. That news is like music to Qualcomm here, right? Because that's the private 5G network that the industry has been waiting for. On the other side, Aramco called Qualcomm, said, hey, we just bid on the 450 megahertz spectrum for industrial connectivity in the kingdom. And Qualcomm, there's no 450 megahertz chips out there on 5G. Can you please make some of them? So we started that collaboration. We put tips into our ecosystem's hand. And now they are, as we speak, testing out the 450 megahertz spectrum in Aramco and in KSA with Qualcomm chips in the handheld devices for the smart workers and different gadgets, sensors, and others as well. So to your point, the need is here Qualcomm has the technology. I think this connecting those dots is what this solution engineering center is going to do here is understand the problem statement, bring the solution, and work together.
So some massive projects there and probably more to come, I imagine. Dev, thank you so much for joining us today and telling us all about Qualcomm and the Global Engineering Center in Abu Dhabi.
Thank you so much. And I'm super excited about the technology in Middle East and how we can make an impact together. And thank you for opportunity and thank you for listening in. Let's build the future together.
You've been listening to a recording of Middle East AI News Live for Thursday, October 2nd, 2025, brought to you by Carrington Malin. Thanks for listening.